Hey there, Daniel here, and welcome to beautiful Perth, Australia. You'll actually get to see some of the skyline and some of my musings about planning out my exit from the hotel quarantine here in Perth after I came back from the United States. So just wanted to share with you what's going to go on. I'm part of a program right now called On Deck, and what On Deck does is they're really focused in on finding the next batch of great entrepreneurs that are either starting something or looking to start something, and it's a cohort-based 10-week program. And one of the cool things that they do is that they do this thing called Build Weekend. It's sort of like a startup weekend, but it's slightly different, and you get to work on your own, and you can do it remotely with people from anywhere in the world. And so I'm going to do that. And the project that I'm going to work on this weekend over the next 2-3 days is one that focuses on a recent issue that happened in my life. About 4 weeks ago, I was on the final leg of touching down in the United States after traveling for about 45 hours to get to the United States after I received a call that my mother was in the intensive care unit in the hospital back in Kentucky. The prognosis was not favorable. The chance of a meaningful recovery that she would value was not being communicated or as possible from the healthcare staff. And during this, trying to navigate that while hearing that for the first time, and then trying to wonder what you should do as the next of kin, I was frustrated and didn't know what to do because we didn't have enough information documented. And she ended up passing away a couple days later, but we didn't have a living will. She and I had talked about what a future life would look like or what advanced healthcare directives, but since I was in the middle of two 15-hour flights, I wasn't able to really direct the hospital to do, even though we were talking about do not resuscitate orders and items like that. Couldn't actually do what she wanted to do for the quality of life. So after a couple days, she wasn't able to recover as the doctors and the healthcare staff decided, and it turns out that there was a big missing gap in documentation. After calling her primary care provider, looking in the hospital file, there wasn't anything on file, even though we had talked about it. And now that I'm closing out her estate, it turns out that there's a new problem that's set up that I don't have all of the account information that she had available, and so now it's sifting through mail, it's sifting through accounts, waiting for people to call to try to close out that estate. So in that vein, so that every 7 billion people in the world don't have to go through the same thing that I'm having to go through right now, I think we should build a project that lets us focus in on documenting your life, your living will, have those documents ready and easily and automatically communicated to different people. So that's sort of in her honor. Her name was Mitzi. So we're going to build for this weekend as part of the On Deck program, the Mitzi Project. And I'm just going to go through all the different things that I would do to coach somebody or work with somebody in the startup and new business community on how to actually build something. And we're going to go through the entire process of buying a domain, setting something up, trialing and error, emailing people, whatever it takes. And there's a big trend right now called build in public, which I do sometimes, but it's all about doing something, showcasing what you're doing, and I'm live streaming this so that other people, if you want to learn how to do something like this for your next business venture, that's totally cool with me. If you want to take this idea and do something with it, go for it. At the very least, I'm going to be able to see if I can try to build something like this, and we get to learn together under a very tight time crunch. So there we go. That's what we're going to try to do. So I'm using one of the services right now called Switcher Studio, and it's letting me put these cute little nice graphics at the bottom that you can see, some little call it like that one that's posting up. It lets me share my screen, lets me go to different places to share this. So I'm going to make sure that we're following along. We have these the calls to actions, but you'll be able to see my screen as we go forward. So feel free either on Facebook, LinkedIn, Twitter, message if you've got a suggestion. Hey, should we build this? Should we not build that? It'll be a multi-day process, which is going to be pretty cool. If occasionally you want to see pictures of what the riverfront of the Swan River here in Perth, Australia looks like, I can do that. Can't open the window for you. They don't allow us in the 14-day quarantine to do anything like that. So it's just me and my thoughts for the next remainder of days, and I have about 4 more days until I'm allowed to leave on Tuesday the 24th of November. Not that I'm counting down or anything. So there we go. Let's see what we can build, and I'm just going to walk you through the process of what I would try to find and do, and see if we can actually solve my own problem. Maybe somebody out there is doing it. I found a couple, but not overly impressed with what they do, and I'll share with you why those are. So let's just see where we go with this. So let's go ahead and see what it is. So the first thing, and let me go ahead and share the screen, and I'm going to show you exactly sort of the process that I go through. And let me do a little picture-in-picture so you can see what's going on. So the first thing that I would encourage anybody to do is, as you've got an idea or something like that, you may have a website, a domain, something.com you want to do. I use a service provider called Namecheap. And what I would do is just go ahead and search for something. So I'm not a very creative thinker whenever it comes to project names. So one of the things that I'm going to do is just name it the Mitzi Project. It can live for a year. It can live for 5 years. It doesn't matter. It's relatively cheap, about $12 US or about 17 Australian dollars to get something. So we'll go ahead and search for this so that we can have a call to action whenever we're working with people and we're saying, hey, you can find out more, you can sign up or do something like that. It's actually cheaper than I thought. So you can come over here and go ahead and add that to your card. I'm pretty sure that this is in USD because that's my account. Go ahead and check out. So that's probably like 14 Australian dollar dues. They have this other cool thing so that you don't get bombarded with spam mail, and a lot of the providers have it. It just protects and makes you a little bit anonymous whenever you're doing that. So go ahead and confirm that. And I have an account with them. They're going to use my default information, an old address that they have. I'm going to change that to previously saved card and do that one. And so as we do that, doesn't matter about any of that information, and we're going to do that, and for $9 we now have a domain that we can do something with, and now we're going to turn it on. We're going to put something on there. So the service provider, or what's called hosting, is whenever you type in mitziproject.com, you now have to throw that to go somewhere so that other computers know where to go and get that information. So the service provider that I use for that is called Green Geeks. And there's a couple things you have to do. Now I choose this one because they do a 300% purchase of their electrical needs through renewables. Computers, streaming, like what we're doing right now, is actually not that good for the environment. So I choose to offset that. So that's one of the really cool things. It's pretty economical. They do a really good job, and we'll go forward from that. So I'll go ahead and log in since I have that. And let's go ahead and we'll put this information in here. Use a password manager called LastPass. It does pretty well. Highly suggest it. I can't remember all passwords. And it looks like they want to send me a code, which is totally cool. And we'll come over here and see if they do that. That's fine. Of course, all these multi-factor, hopefully no one's going to hack me. That'd be pretty sad, but it does happen. So, all right, so if we come over here to the domains, what we have to do is I have to do a couple different things. So one, if I come over here to this thing called cPanel, and this is where all my websites and the information is, we first have to say, hey computer, you have to be able to listen for this. So we come over here to the add-on domains, which is what this is covered. And the new domain that we're going to add is going to be mitziproject.com. It's going to add it here. That's where we're going to put all the files. We go ahead and we'll go ahead and create that. Add a domain. and hopefully it'll ask us to remember the password, which I'm not sure if it will. So yeah, so we'll probably use some no-code tools to do this. The big one that I'm a pretty big fan of is one called Bubble, and we'll go forward from that, and we'll add that so that we have that, and we'll see what happens. So now that we have that, the next thing that we have to do is we have to come back over here, and we want to make sure that it's secure, so we have to do something called an SSL certificate, and I'll show you how to do that. So come over here to add a SSL certificate, pick the domain, which it should pick up exactly what we just did before. The Mitzi project, we go ahead and continue on that. Let's Encrypt, that's the current free one. There's something going on right now that those will be valid for about another year as they're working on something, but that'll be interesting to see what happens with all these free ones that you can do. So once you go ahead and do that, it'll go through the process, and we've got a couple messages coming in, and we'll see if anybody's messaging and whatever. So coming through, and click on install, and it does all that other stuff for us. So wait a couple seconds, and once we do that, this is great. Oh, wait 30 minutes. Oh, I know why it doesn't like it. We have to do one other step. So forgot to do this. You have to do something that's called, you have to come over here and on the, where is it? Let's come back over to the, here. And we have to tell that, we have to give it the domain name servers. So if you come over here, you have to come back over here to Namecheap. And whenever you come into your administration area, you'll have this interesting thing that happens, that if we come back over here to your dashboard, you go to your domains, and we'll come over here and we'll do Mitzi, the Mitzi project. I have way too many domains, and we'll search for that one. And now we have to come over here, and it should already have that domain list. Mitzi. Clicked on the wrong one. Click over here on manage, and now you have to set up these things called DNS servers. That just tells the computers in the world where to go. We're going to do custom DNS. We put that one in there. We grab, that's not what I wanted to do. Reopen, close tab. I haven't had breakfast yet. I usually wake up about 5 a.m. It's 8 a.m. right now. And they don't serve breakfast till about 8:30 or 9 o'clock, which is pretty late for somebody that gets up a little bit earlier. So last thing we'll do, we'll grab that one, and we'll come over here and we'll do that. And once we save that, it does its amazing thing. Says it takes 48 hours, but the beautiful thing of the internet, since this is a new one, it actually doesn't take that long. And then we'll come back over here to the security SSL certificate, and we will add one, and that's what that one is. And then we want Mitzi project, continue, let's encrypt, confirm and create, and a let's encrypt SSL already exists. So did it do it? Let's see. Yep, it looks like it did. Renewal date, test challenge. It doesn't look like it's done it just yet. So let's go over here, install. That's the last step we want to do. And these are the fun things that happen whenever you're dealing with tech. Finalization, once we have that in there, There we go, rah, rah, rah. And then it does everything on the back end, which is pretty cool. And we actually don't have to do anything else. So right now, if we open up a new tab and we go to mitziproject.com, file not found, that's really good. That's doing exactly what we wanted it to do. If we come over here to the file manager just for fun so that we can see what's going on, we come over here to our public HTML, and then it did a Mitzi project. And then if we come over here and we create a file, index.html, just to test out, create a new file. And once we do that, and if we edit it real quick, it's telling us, yeah, continue, that's great, edit. And we're just going to come in here real fast and do a HTML page, body, and we're going to do hello world, welcome to the mitziproject.com. Go ahead and save our changes, and now if we come back over here to the file not found and refresh, that's our project that we just did. So now anybody in the world can go to this, and it should redirect to being secure as we're doing that. I'll do one other thing to get rid of a redirect, a thing called a redirect, where they did. Oh, and I think it changes. So there we go. So the next thing we need to do is, I like dealing with WordPress. It does pretty well, and we're just going to create a quick landing page or two. And if you have a hosting service like what I do, they allow you to install those pretty easily. And they have this app installer called Soft Delicious, I guess is how you say it. And they let you quickly put WordPress in there. So we're going to come over here. We're going to do an install now, and the site name. So we now had to tell it to use the secure stuff. It's going to be the Mitzi project, which is down here, and then Mitzi project, and see, now that we have that, we can actually put that over there, and we're going to store, document, and share your wishes. So that can be our current tagline while we're working through that. Go ahead and create a password. Just a second, because I don't really feel like somebody hacking into me while we're doing this. English, that's great. Advanced options, that's fine. Install. And as we go forward from there, let's see, Mitzi project at hotmail.com. And then what you're seeing now is this particular install that we have. It's going, that's great. It'll tell us the password, and if we come over here, and now if we go back over here and we try to log in to mitziproject.com, WP admin, if the world cooperates, which it should, admin, and I need to come back over here to do that, log in. And now if we come back over here to our test page, we do that, there's our website, and now we can play around with it and have some fun. So there we go. Let's go ahead and add that so we don't forget it. A couple things I do whenever I set up a new WordPress site for whatever I'm doing. Now, some people use a website called Carrd, CARRD.io, I think it is. It's just a landing page, which is builder, which is totally cool. This is just the one that I particularly use because I've got people that I work with that are pretty well versed in it. So I'll do a couple things whenever I start out Number one, I'll come over here to the settings, and there's a couple things like on permalinks that I turn off because I don't like the way that it does it, and I wanted things to be on their post name instead of anything else, because then it gets a little bit wonky, and I don't want to do that. On the discussion, I go ahead just to help out with page load. You tick off that show avatars, and you save that. And now I throw a couple of plugins in there that I particularly like. So if we come over here, one that I like is Monster Insights. It lets you track people through Google Analytics and some other items, which are pretty good. So we can install that. I've got another tool. We can go ahead and activate that I like to use. Contact Form 7 lets you build ways to grab people's contact information really easy, do a survey, something like that. So that's another one that I will do. So we've got Contact Form 7. And we'll do that. And then we'll do Contact Form 7 after we do this one. And we will add a new one. And then we want Contact Form 7 Zapier. That lets us put different items to a automation tool. And that's what I particularly use. Contact Form 7 to webhook. That's what that one is. And we can activate it. And we come over here to the installed plugins. And let's see what else we've got going on. So Contact Form 7, that's activated. Google Analytics. Okay, and the last one that I like to do, and I pay for this one, it's called Elementor, and it lets you create really beautiful templates and stuff like that. So I'm actually going to have to upload this one because it has to come from Elementor. And let's see if we have it. Elementor, so there's one that I have from May the 11th, so let's see what that does. That one may work. Choose file, drag it there if it lets us. Nope. Choose file, so we go to downloads, Elementor. We want it here in our downloads, and Elementor is Elementor Pro from August. That's probably us. Go ahead and install, and if the world cooperates, plugin installed successfully. Once we plug in and do all that stuff, you need to install the Elementor plugin, so we'll do that. Activate that plugin. Once you get this set up, you really don't have to do anything else. And if we go over here to the license, you have to connect and activate, which since I pay for it, it's just asking us to log in. It remembers who I am. That's great. I don't want them to know anything. That's okay. I have unlimited, which is cool and fine by me. There we go. So there we go. That is step number one for us to have something up there so that whenever people go to mitziproject.com, they can do something. Something else we'll need for later on is probably an email address. So the way that I create that, I come back over here to the admin area, which is none of these things. So we'll come back over here to the hosting. And let's come back over here to our cPanel, and we will just create a quick email address for that. Again, free to use if you have stuff like this that are on here. So email accounts, and we're just doing the generic create one, and it's going to be the domain Mitzi Project. The username, we're just going to make it info right now. I will stop this for a second so you don't have to see my password generation. do that, create that, and then add a new account. There we go. And we're back. So there, that's created, that works, and now we just have to go forward and see what we can do now. So right now we have a functioning website. So if we go to mitziproject.com, there's lunch or breakfast, I think. Here's the hello world and everything that we're doing. We should have an email address that we can sign up for things if we need to. And so that gets us started. So now let's see what's actually out there in the world. So we're going to do a couple things so that we can build our vernacular and our word around what this industry looks like, sort of the end of life prepping for death and estate planning. Let's just go for let's just search for checklist will, living will, power of attorney. And let's see if somebody's created a system like that. So right now, since I'm technically in Australia, it's going to pull back a whole bunch of Australian ones, which are fine, but in the US, it'll do the same thing. So estate planning, the 4 documents you need from Blue Rock. I have no idea who they are, but let's see what they say. It's telling us that you should have a will, rah, rah, rah. That's you're 18 and older. It tells you how the will may be done if you don't have a position that you share. Enduring power of attorney. This lets people make decisions for you. And again, you can see a lawyer or a lot of places, state governments will let you usually download something like this for something like that. Medical treatment decision maker. So this is if you're taken to the hospital, you're incapacitated, someone can make those decisions on your behalf. If you don't have something like this, typically the hospitals will take every measure to save your life, even though it may be against your wishes. The people that can take on the responsibility could be your primary care, it could be your domestic partner, your parent, or your adult siblings, if you have anything like that. And then you've got an advanced care directive that sort of says, hey, these are my wishes, and please make sure that you respect those. So it may have something to do with, hey, if this course of action happens, hey, I don't want to have any type of ventilation, mechanical breathing, or mechanical life support. You can come over here and do this. Highly important, especially if you don't want any type of CPR or anything like that, but that's something that you need to cover with your doctor. So the interesting thing that I find with this is that they tell you to do this. Now, Blue Rock is probably a legal team. Yeah, they're a legal team and everything, or financial planning, but they don't actually say this is how you could do it. This is your next step. So it's just they're regurgitating, here's what you need to know, and they're moving forward with it. Estate planning checklist. Let's see doyourownwill.com. No idea who they are. Start your last will and testament. That's what happens with your property and your other items. If you have kids, who takes care of those? Who actually closes out your estate? Healthcare power of attorney. Start a living will. Well, let's actually see what this process looks like. Living will, address, city. It doesn't actually tell us. It tells us a brief summary. So here's what it is. You get your name, your contact information. Here's what I was talking about with the prolonged life. If you want anything to have happen or not have happen. If you're unconscious, a reasonable degree of medical certainty. What happened with my mother was actually medical certainty. She wouldn't be able to recover in a meaningful way for a life that she wanted to live. And the burdens would outweigh the expected benefits. So that was a pretty hard decision to make. But you can either choose not to or to do that. Now, that doesn't mean that they won't give you antibiotics or anything like that. That just means that if it looks more than likely that you'll be in a long-term care facility for the next natural part of your life, the next 20 years, and that may be an undue burden on your family or people that remain, you may elect not to do that. And you can also provide more details. Hey, if I'm in pain, do this. And it also names your primary care physician, alternate physician, and then they come in and say, what do you want to do with your organ donation network? and you can download it in those. Now, the interesting thing that I think about this is they let you document in a PDF, print it out, or do something, but how do you actually share that on a regular, ongoing basis with your loved ones, either on a monthly, every other month, 3 months, 6-month, or annual basis, and that's ongoing? They actually don't do that. So it's like, here, fill all this stuff out, and by the way, whenever you have to change it, come back in here and do all that again. People don't want that, or at least I wouldn't want that. So that one actually doesn't meet what I would think the criteria would. So it looks like terms that we're finding are living will, advanced healthcare directive, free PDF form. So people are looking at it and trying to do something like that. And look, there's ads because it's an industry that people want to do something. Let's see how many people are searching for this stuff. So use a couple tools just to see what's going on. So as I'm looking to see what people are looking for, I will come over here, and there's a tool I use called SERPstat, and I pay for this, but it lets me see the Google searches people have for different keyword terms. This is important to see if what your people are searching for. Should you take out a Google ad or something like that? You can search by country, but I'm going to go ahead and sign in, and I'm going to show you what this process really looks like. And let's see if we've got anything, anybody doing something. So that's part of the on deck. Let's see if anything's going on in Facebook. Let's see. Nothing crazy. And let's see. All right. So people doing that. So we just see what else we get to do. Now let's check LinkedIn, because LinkedIn, I didn't really share anything there. And see if anybody's given us a suggestion on what to do or what not to do. People are viewing it and doing stuff, and see what happens. So okay. Let's see. So now let's come over here and figure out what we can do. So we're going to come back over here, and we're going to look at SERPstat. If I can remember my password. Oh, there we go. It's in the password manager, like it should. So now we want to see how many people per month are really looking at some of these things. So if we do living will, keyword search, they switched it on me. Living will. Let's see what people are doing in Australia. And this lets us see a couple things. So there's only 390 people that are searching for the word living will. Competition on a scale of 0 to 100, with 100 being the most. It's on the low end side, and it looks like the cost per click to get somebody to click on an ad is about $1.29. People are searching more. The system thinks that people are looking for the Whitney Houston or Dolly Parton song, I Will Always Love You, more than anything. So if we come over here, Living Will Kit, these are the ads people are taking out. So that may be not the right word for Australia, but let's come over here and see what happens in the US. So if we search for the Living Will, there's about 40,000 people a month that are searching for this. Living wills, people know about it, how to make a living will. That's probably without a lawyer. Without a lawyer, that's what that one is. And how many people are searching for it. So that's some pretty healthy information. And it gives you sort of the leaders. LegalZoom is probably taking a lot of ads out for that. They've purchased about 3,000 different keywords. Here are the different ads that you'll see for different things that'll happen. And again, the way Google will work, it'll let people take out ads based upon geographic search, browsers, maybe information if they know something about their browsing behavior, their ages and stuff like that. So yeah, you've just got to come over here and search. Competition's about meh, and people are paying about just under $4 per cost per click. But the keyword difficulty, 22 out of 100, is actually easy to do, but there's probably a lot of content you'd have to generate to do something. So if we do healthcare directive, let's see what people are doing for that one. 2,000. So that's not a common term for that. Lower cost per click, but less people are searching for that. About 5% of the search volume is what we have for that, which is not overly promising. People, no way to search for it. Yeah, so just get a lay of the land for what people are doing. So people are searching for it. Let's see what they're doing on Twitter. So we come over here and we search for living will. And right now with COVID, with hundreds of thousands of people dying, it's actually an interesting time to do it. Here we have something in the New York Times. Switzerland reached its capacity in the ICU ward. People are trying to do something for the living will, and they're trying to figure it out. This is something you need to have a conversation with your family. The new registration form for some general practitioners who are asking about patients. Now, the interesting thing for at least the United States is that doctors don't get paid to have this conversation with you, or a couple of years they don't. Whenever I was investigating this as a problem before. So because a doctor doesn't get paid for it and to help you, encourage you to think about this living will or advanced healthcare directive, they typically don't do it because they had to do that 20 times a day. That takes away them from earning money and billing other people out. So I'm not faulting them, but I think it definitely is a downfall in the healthcare setting that at least the United States have. So how much money is spent in the last 6 months of life? So Medicare, who takes care of the older population, it looks like 28% of all healthcare dollars, at least in Medicare, is spent in the last 6 months of life, which is interesting to think about. The United States has a rampant increase in healthcare dollar. End of life spending, they're saying that it is... but spending in the last 3 years of life reached just under 25%. So yeah, there's a lot of money spent on it, and we may be able to not spend those if we respect people's wishes and what they're doing. So yeah, it looks like that's a lot of money. End of life care. So it does look like we're spending a lot of money, a lot of time, a lot of mental energy on that. So, all right, so it looks like we have a couple things with living wills to explore. I wonder if we search for a living will wizard. My living will. So let's see how this one appears to be in the UK, which may not be appropriate in your jurisdiction. Make an advanced directive. So here they're telling you to do it. 14 pages, which is a little bit overwhelming if you want my opinion. Dementia. So you get to select one. Add to current document. Oh, this is a horrible system. Select decisions. I have no idea. Bad UI. That it's just coming here and giving you a prompt. And you have to close out every time that sucks. So let's see if we do finalize and download, if it tells us what we're doing. Oh, you have to sign in. Okay, well, here's a cool little tip. Tempmail.org lets you create temporary email addresses. So as you're trying something out and you don't want to do it, you can actually come over here and do this. And copy that and come over here, password test123, because we really don't care. It'll ask it, oh, you have to not registered yet. Email address, test123, register. View my document builder. Let's add that to the password. All right, so we do this. Finalize and download. Oh, you can't even do something with this. Wow, you have to go through 14 pages of point and click and double opt-ins. Then you do this, Sam Smith, Sam Stacy Smith, date of birth, 1/11/1960. Key person information, GP, so they do that. Let's do this, submit. Let's see what it has. So okay, so that's how they make money. Advance here. And let's see what this looks like. My living will, preferences, rah. So yeah, it's just building, witnesses, signature, general practitioner. So what happens if you wanted to change something? Do you come back over here? So it does this, but here's the thing: you then have to. Like, people aren't getting a text message update saying, hey, this has been shared with you, or an email notification. That's definitely something I would want in one of these. So you can download it, but there's not like a monthly or annual basis. So that's a feature that they could add, but I don't know. So advanced decision, guide to illnesses, and let's see what's happening. So it's also missing stroke and head injury, coma, what would you want? I'm not actually reading these. Effects of a stroke. So you're reading about it. So yeah, it actually does appears to be an okay job for the United Kingdom to create these documents, but it's still missing some of those other items, such as your key assets like your house and your car, your bank accounts, any bills that you have that come out on a regular basis. So yeah, that one's okay, but still not what I would want in a product. And the UI looks to be really old. Like, what does it do on mobile? Okay, so they actually made it mobile friendly, so that's pretty good. And let's see what they do for the donation. Okay, so we'll let you do that. A little bit odd to take you to PayPal, but you know what, it works. So, okay, so let's come over here to the advanced healthcare directive wizard. And I'm curious what people are. If we find that, we come over here to search that. I bet you anything that not a lot of people are searching that. Yeah, no data, which means a lot of people aren't. Directive guide. So they have no information on it, which means people aren't doing anything with it. So how are people really doing something with it? So it comes back to public advocacy groups, at least here in Australia, where I am, as we're dealing with that. Yeah. So there's just a brief overview. Let's see if we come back to this living will that we saw in the here, if they actually tell you, let's see what's happening. So if we click on this, and I wonder what so you've got 180 likes, 245. Let's see what the article says. It may charge us, but let's see. So if they encourage people to do it, now I'm curious, will they tell people to do it? Where's Switzerland? That's weird that they link to it, but it actually doesn't do it. Olive, whatever. So living will. The group, so it's research to based on a National Medical Association. So who's actually calling for that? It's currently completely full. Let's see. Asking Swiss residents because they're writing a living will, the medical society. So let's figure out this medical society. What is the name of it? Swiss Society. So let's see. They tell us to do it, but do they actually give us a guide on how to do it? And it's definitely going to be living. So they, because it's probably in Swiss German. Yeah, that's funny. They tell you to do it, but they actually don't tell you how to do it, which is a common problem. So, so let's come back to the living will. Let's see the latest ones. I would like to see what people are doing and tweeting and all that other stuff. If we come over here to what we're doing, let's see. So yeah, people are definitely talking about it, which is pretty good. I never signed anything over to anyone. I have a will and a living will, and no one in my family has any consent to do anything on my behalf. And there are two people, and they have no say until I'm deceased. Which this person would actually have most heroic measures taken for them. So yeah, just had to do some talk. So anyway, all right, so what we did today is we did some initial research on what's going on. We can search on social media to see if there's different tools out there. We're about 45 minutes in, and we can see what people are doing and not doing. We created a domain, we linked that up, created an email account, created a hosting account, and now the next step is for me to eat breakfast and come back in a little while, and we'll see what we can do. So let's go ahead and document on Twitter sort of what we did, and we'll come over here if I can remember what I did. Here, and we'll come here and we'll reply to our thread. So let's go ahead, and if I click on it, I think I can, can't I reply back to it? Yeah, so we come over here. So add another tweet. Okay, so completed, register domain via Namecheap. We'll give them some love because I like what they do. Hosting an email via Green Geeks. Searching on trends via SERPstat. And next, landing page, hosting and WordPress, WordPress.com, and then WordPress.com with Elementor, page builder. So we'll do that landing page and call to action with email capture, and then we'll do some research and see what's next. So that's it. Be good. Have fun. We will tweet this out, see what's going on, and that's about it. All right. Enjoy it. See you probably in a little while after I have breakfast.